morning. Come on, stretch it out. Yeah. Get those arms above your head. Come on, expand those lungs. We know how that is, right? We go ahead and expand our lungs, stretch out our stretch out our chest. Do some little practice with our lips and our mouth, right? You got to get all those things rocking and rolling because it's Monday morning and we're ready to take off and have an incredible day. Hey, I'm super excited that you're here. We are going to talk about deadlines today, how you hit them, how you smash them, how important they are, how they're incredibly entwined with your goals. We're also going to bring Jordan Peterson in here a little bit later. If you don't know Mr. Jordan Peterson, the dude's pretty stinking awesome. I really like him. He's on a crazy trajectory right now. I've been learning a lot from him in different ways. He's got a couple little things that I don't love, but for the most part, I really like what he has to bring to the table. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to have a lot of fun. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to learn. And we're also going to move lives forward, like my friend Liza Myers-Borges would say, and my friend Scott Simons would say the same thing. We're going to do all that and more on today's episode of Hashtag Rise and Grind. I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. Good morning and welcome to Hashtag Rise and Grind, the #1 morning show in the world filled with motivation, education, and inspiration. I am your host, Glenn Lundy, husband to 1, father to 8, and the founder of the 800% Club, the club designed to help you unlock your full potential. Each episode is filled with celebrity interviews, inspiring conversations, and the strategies you need to get ahead in your career and your life. So grab your pen and turn up the volume because it's time to rise and grind. Amen, amen, amen. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend? Dude, today is Monday. That's right. Today is Monday, March 27th. Unbelievable. March is almost gone. Today is Monday, March 27th, 2023. And what's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it'll ever be Monday, March 27th, 2023. So I want to make sure we make the absolute most, and I do mean the absolute most of this absolutely incredible day. Hey, some of you have listened to my show before. Some of you have joined me on my show before. Some of you have listened or joined me on my show 1,000+ times, right? Which is absolutely amazing. But with that said, this morning, for some reason, it's on my heart. I want to remind you, don't take it for granted when I say today is the very first and the very last time it'll ever be Monday, March 27, 2023. I think sometimes we say it, but okay, we've said that 1,000 times. Doesn't matter how many times we say it. It is the truth, my friends. You have a brand new day in front of you. You have a brand new day in front of you. A day that's never existed before. What was yesterday is no longer. Whatever challenge that you faced, whatever triumph that you accomplished, it's gone. It's behind you. It's no longer there. Today's the day. All right, today is the day that you have. It is a new day, and it is the first and the last time it'll ever be Monday, March 27, 2023. So let's make the absolute most of this absolutely incredible day. Fair? All right, cool. Listen, I'm coming to you live from Lexington, Kentucky. It's going to be, we've got a high of 57. We got a high of 57 degrees today. That's about where it's going to be all week out here in Lexington. We're looking at a mid to high 50s all week. So spring is here. We had a nice weekend. We had a weekend in the 60s, which was nice, right? Spring is here. We're not full on into spring yet. It's not like running around in our shorts yet. We're not quite there, right? But spring is here, and I love spring. I don't know about you, but I love spring. There's a lot of things associated with spring that I really love, including spring like cleaning, right? Spring cleaning, getting everything all organized, like it's kind of a fun time of year for that, right? Like purging the closet, getting rid of the things, donating the things, whatever it is that we got to do. It's really, really, really fun for me. It's a fun season. And along those lines, if any of you are in Lexington, Kentucky, my friend Aaron Jones, who some of you might know, my friend Aaron Jones now has on top of his, he does incredible like contractor work. But on top of that, he now has Dump Star hauling. Dump Star hauling. And you can book one of these big old dumpsters. So we got one at our house and just filled the sucker up. He went and emptied it, and then we filled it up a second time. But if you need like a big bin, you just want to purge, want to get rid of a bunch of old stuff, whether it be out in a barn or in a garage or in your house or whatever, Dump Star hauling. This is my guy right here. But dude, it felt so good. It felt so good to purge some of this old stuff that was just sitting, right? And it's one of the things I love about this season. On top of like the mowing and the green grass that is happening, we're starting to get some grass out in the yard. You've got the kids that were out all day yesterday riding on their quads and playing with their friends, which I absolutely love. Seeing their little biker gang running around the neighborhood, right? Soccer, Joel had 2 soccer games yesterday, so soccer season is in full effect. We can even have warm runs. The cold runs are not my favorite. I'm just saying, I'm not a big fan. Yes, you warm up quick. I get it, right? It can be 35 degrees outside. You warm up quick, you start sweating. I totally get it. But starting running when it's 30 degrees outside is not fun. I'd rather start when it's a little warmer, right? So I'm just saying, I'm a tropical people. I like heat, right? And so warm runs, that's happening out there right now. It's kind of an out with the old, in with the new season. And it's a wonderful time of year. It's also a very dangerous time of year. A very dangerous time of year. I made a post the other day. I said, hey, spring is here. How are you doing on your goals for 2023? And there were a lot of people that responded. And a lot of the responses were, I'm behind, but I have time. I'm behind on my goals that I set for the new year. I'm behind, but I have time. That was like the most common response on the thing. I'm behind, but I got time to catch up. I'm behind, but I got time to catch up. I'm not where I want to be, but I got plenty of time to get there. That was like the most common response. And while they're responding in that way, another day goes by, another week goes by, another month goes by, another season goes by, another year goes by, and there's still no book written, still no growth. They're still flat. You're still behind. And you ask yourself, like, what happened? A day becomes a week becomes a month becomes a year becomes a lifetime. And then we ask ourselves, what happened? And see, here's the thing. When you set out to achieve, many of these people in this, maybe not you, but many of these people that commented this on this post, when they set out to achieve this goal, they forgot a crucial step. And that's what we're going to do today, is we're going to talk about that crucial step that they forgot. But before we go too far, you know what we got to do on the show. We know we got to do some dancing. Now, over on Twitter Spaces, before I play some music, there was, I got a text that somebody didn't hear like the intro, which is very, very weird. I don't really understand that because it's all going through the same output, all going through the same roadcaster. Can you guys hear me on Twitter Spaces right now? Can I get a thumbs up? Can I get a thumbs down? I just want
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, Ramon says yes. Hold on. Say that again.
We got you, brother.
That's the problem. Okay, I am hearing you. Okay, I see what. That's why it sounded weird earlier when you guys talked to me, because it's actually not coming through the roadcaster at all. You guys are just
coming. The music didn't come through, Glenn. Just, the music didn't come through. I know we're on a live show across America, but just saying the music didn't come through, but your voice is clear.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For some reason, it's just going straight through the phone. It's not even going through the roadcaster at all. So that's why you guys sounded a little weird yesterday or earlier. All right, everything's plugged in. Let me unplug it, plug it back in. All right, try talking again, remote.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. This is Ramon. Good morning, America.
Thank you, Ramon. Now I actually hear you guys through the roadcaster, so that means you should be able to hear me through the roadcaster, which is good. Okay, cool. All right, so now I'm gonna play some music. We're gonna do some dancing, and you should be able to hear it. You guys love my live show. It's always so technically advanced, and everything's always just so perfect. It's pretty unbelievable, right? How does he do it, folks? How does he do it? No. It definitely is not any of those things. But we have a good time. Hey, for those of you that know, and those of you that don't know, this is the part of the show where I need you to hit that share button. That's right. I need you to hit that share button, because I believe if we can change the way people start their day, it'll make a massive impact on this planet. I truly believe that. And sometimes all it takes to change the way somebody starts their day is for you to hit that share button. So if you're on Twitter Spaces, tweet this out. Tweet. If you're on Facebook, hit the share button. You know what you got to do. YouTube, you guys have been commenting a lot on YouTube lately, I've been noticing. YouTube views are going up. YouTube might be a hot spot. For those of you over on YouTube, share this out too. I greatly appreciate it. And then let's do some dancing, okay? Let's do some dancing. You guys like this new song? Because I wrote this song. I built this song. I created this song. I put all these instruments together, and I did it in seconds this morning with soundraw.io. A little help from artificial intelligence goes a long way. This is also the part of the show where I need you to say good morning to me, and I'll say good morning to you. Whether you're watching live or you're watching on replay, say what's up. I will say what's up back. Jennifer Ann, you can dance. Do not fall on the treadmill, please. Nathaniel Banks, great to see you this morning. What's up, Kevin Stroh-Snyder in the building. Ryan Gallagher, I'm glad you're here. Sean Weatherby, what's up on this beautiful Monday morning? Russell Hill and Gail B. Craft, glad you're in the building. Mary Lynn Wilkin is up in here. Mary Lynn, I will be interviewing with you later on your new podcast, which I'm super excited about. Miles and Mary Lynn. It's something like MM. It's got a cool. I haven't memorized the name yet, but I know it's a new podcast and it's cool. It's going to be super awesome. I'm super excited about that. Melvin Rodriguez, Rodney Hatfield, Kim Fair, Vicky Everett. What up? Russell Tabone, glad you're in the building. Rodney Rock Hatfield, he's considering beginning 75 hard in April. If anybody wants to join him, I'm going to pass on that, Rodney. You go get that, though. Carrie Lynn Carter, I'm glad you're in the building. Josh, and look at all my friends on Twitter Spaces. I'm so excited to see Andrew in the building. We are BWC MLM. That's what it is, Christina Howard. Thank you. MLM. Spencer's in the building. Randy's in the building. Allison is here. so unique and mignon. We've got Natasha and Melvin and Leisha and Angeline. I see Jacqueline. I see Tarika. I see Aday. I see Lyndon and Kelly and Wes, and stars Tina and Victoria and Tom and B. Oh my goodness, all these people. Mindy's in the building. Ramona's in the building. Valerie, Wes, Storm, Russell, Jim, Sheila, and Tom. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Look at this. Look at this. We're shifting, folks. We're shifting into a new space, and I love it. Sean Weatherby, is it just me or has the show stopped? It's just you, bro. The show never stops. The show always goes on. Speaking of the show going on, we're going to be going on live in Dallas, Texas, April 13th through 14th. If you haven't been to Dallas, Texas, dude, now's the time to come. Dallas, Texas is bad to the bone. I'm telling you, I love it. There's so much energy in Dallas. It's amazing. So you should come join us. Go to bwcdaily.com/Dallas 2023. bwcdaily.com. Did I say backslash? /. bwcdaily.com/Dallas 2023. Go there, get a ticket. Friday, April 13th and 14th in Dallas, Texas, the Champions Business Conference. It's going to be so amazing. I hope you're all there. I really, really do. Every person listening to my voice right now, find a way to get to Dallas, man. It's like 3 weeks from now. It's freaking amazing. I know you might be a little strapped for cash or whatever. Like, dude, just make it happen, dude. Just trust me. Get in the room. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And also, another way that we're pulling people together, which is, by the way, that's what God put me on this earth to do. And it's so cool knowing and learning like your true purpose, like bringing people together, equipping them with the tools they need to succeed, and inspiring them to be great. That's like why I'm here. And so the BWC conference is going to do that. We're going to bring people together, equip you with the tools that you need to succeed, and we're going to inspire you, right? You're going to go back home ready to run through brick walls. And we're doing the same thing with our 800% club, right? We bring people together, equip them with the tools they need to succeed, and inspire them to be great. And I'm super excited because last week we rolled out our sales training. We now have, I've been working with owners and GMs of car dealerships for years and years and years now, but my team, which is behind me on the wall right here, as you can see, my team has expanded, and so now we're able to pour into salespeople, sales managers, finance managers, any of you that are in sales or in management. You can now become a part of an 800% club. So if you're interested in that, just go to glennlundy.com/800%, glennlundy.com/800%. And yes, percent is all spelled out, right? Because you can't do the little percent thing. It just doesn't work that way. glennlundy.com/800%. If you want to be a part of that, let me know. All right, cool. All right, we're going to keep talking about, we're going to be talking about deadlines, the importance of them, and how they are going to ensure that you reach the targets, the goals, the things that you want to achieve here in 2023 and beyond. Does that sound fair? Number one crucial mistake people make when it comes to their goals or achievements, things that they want to do with their life. Number one crucial mistake. Well, number one is probably they don't write the goal. But number two is deadlines. We continue to think we are going to live forever. We continue to think we've got plenty of time. We continue to think that Someday Island is actually a place where successful people hang out. And it's just simply not the case. Listen, deadlines are defined as the latest time or date by which something should be completed. The latest time or date by which something should be completed. Now, there's a historical definition of deadlines also, which is a line drawn around a prison beyond which prisoners are liable to be shot. That's the other definition of a deadline. The line drawn around a prison where prisoners are liable to be shot. Well, I think if you put both these definitions together, it actually makes a little more sense. The latest time or date by which something should be completed. And if you don't get it completed by then, you're liable to be shot. Not you physically, but that idea, that concept, that dream, that achievement that you're reaching for, it dies with you when we don't put deadlines. Now, many of you and many people around the world, maybe not you again, but many people around the world, they set a deadline. On January 1st of 2023, they set a deadline. They said, okay, this year I am going to X, right? This year is the year I write my book. This year is the year that I take care of my fitness. This year is the year that I expand my career. This year is the year that I make six figures. This year is the year that I expand my business. This year is blank, 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 blank. 2023, the year for me, right? So a lot of people set a deadline for December 31st of 2023. In which case, if that's your deadline and you're behind right now, if that was you, if you're like, okay, in 2023, I'm going to do this. So your deadline's December 31st, 2023. In that case, when you look at it, you're like, oh, well, you know what? I've made zero progress towards that, but I still have time. If you're behind right now, you're telling yourself, well, I still have time. But here's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to get too far behind. And then it's going to be too late. I'm going to give you an example. I am training for a marathon, right? I am training for the Chicago Marathon in October or September, whatever the date is, right? So I'm training for the Chicago Marathon. Now, the reason this came to be, it's a whole story, it's a whole thing. My wife, I was talking to my wife about how my team is very good at sprinting. Like, we're all sprinters, we're all car guys. And so we're like, now, urgent sprint, go. But where as a business, we need more long, stretched out, strategic thinking. I'm like, man, it needs to be a marathon, not a sprint. My wife's like, well, the only way you're going to learn how to operate your business as a marathon, not a sprint, is you got to go you got to go run a marathon. I'm like, thanks, Leslie Lundy. And and if the wife calls me out, then the guy in me is like, yeah, that's gotta happen. Yeah, October. Thanks, Felicia. So I started training for a marathon. I'm going into week 4, right? So the deadline to be trained for this marathon is October X, whatever the date is. All right. So do you believe if I am to run a marathon in October, especially me not being a crazy runner, do you believe that I could start training for that marathon the week before and be successful at running the marathon? Just go ahead and drop it in the comments if you think me training a week before the marathon would be the best strategy to succeed in the marathon. Just go ahead and drop that in the comments if you think that would be a great strategy. If you think that's probably not a great strategy, you can drop that in the comments as well. You let me know what you think. Training a week before to go run 26.4 miles, right? Christina Howard says, heck no, that would not be a great strategy. Jacqueline Underwood says, no way. Tarika Simmons says, nope. Mike Strong says, definitely not a great strategy, right? Mary Kim Barkis says, no, probably not a good idea. Nicole Settles, not a great strategy, okay? Don Sankey says, no. Carolyn Carter says, no, sir, impossible. That would be a tragedy, says Regina, right? Worst idea ever, says Marilyn Wilkin, right? So we all agreed to start training for the marathon a week before would be terrible, right? It'd be a terrible idea. So instead, I'm on a 32-week training program. And instead of having a deadline of October X, that's why I don't even know when it is. instead of having a deadline of October X, I have deadlines daily. Like each day, this is my schedule right here for those of you that are watching online, right? 32 weeks. So it's like Monday, rest day, Thursday, 2 miles, Wednesday, rest day, Wednesday, rest day, Thursday, 2 miles, Friday, 1 to 2 miles, Sunday, 2 miles. Then in week 2, it scales up. In week 3, it scales up. In week 4, it scales up, right? 3 miles, 4 miles, 1.5 miles, 5 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, 2 miles, 6 miles, 4 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, 7 miles, right? You see it? And as we go through each of the 32 weeks, it just continues to increase, right? 4 miles, 2 miles, 7 miles, 3 miles, 2 miles, 4 miles, 15 miles, 4 miles, 2 miles, 3 miles. And there's rest days in between, right? So instead of training for the marathon a week before the marathon, instead of having a deadline of October X, whenever the marathon is, instead I have a daily deadline. So what I want you to do this morning is I want you to ask yourself, with that thing that you said you're going to do in 2023, that achievement, that goal, that book that you're going to write, that stage you're going to stand on, that financial target that you have for the year, my question is, like, what is the timeline? Like, if you look at it, right, like, what is your timeline for completion? Not just the target, not just that deadline at the end, but what is the timeline, right? Like if you look at a timeline, anytime you've looked at a timeline, there's these little points, right? You know, it always has like mile markers, like historical points along the way, historical moments, important milestones or accomplishments, right? That's what we want to build in order for you to hit these goals. We just need to do it in reverse. So right now we look at a timeline of history. We're like, okay, this thing happened, then this thing happened, then this thing happened, then this thing happened, which led to where we are today. You know, General Ford released the Model T in 1922, and then during the Industrial Revolution, and then the new CEO came in and realized that we need to have salespeople that can help people with the cars, and there's all these milestones. Looking back, we can see that. I want you to do that with your target and with your goal. Go to the end and then go backwards. And let's create daily deadlines of activity versus a far off deadline. This way we can't fall behind. This way we're not off track. This way, when March 27th comes and somebody posts and says, where you at on your 2023 goals and resolutions, you're saying, I'm right on track with where I'm supposed to be. Not I'm behind. See, this is the power of deadlines. We have to shrink the margin of time between the deadlines in order for you to be more successful.
You need a family, you need friends. Like, you don't need to have all these things, but you better have most of them. Family, friends, career, educational goals, plans for, time outside of work, attention to your mental and physical health, etc. That's what life is about. And if you don't have any of those things, well, then all you've got left is misery and suffering. So that's a bad deal for you. So, number one, specify your damn goals, because how are you going to hit something if you don't know what it is? That isn't going to happen. And often people won't specify their goals too, because they don't like to specify conditions for failure. So if you keep yourself all vague and foggy, which is real easy, because that's just a matter of not doing as well, then you don't know when you fail. And people might say, well, I really don't want to know when I fail because that's painful. So I'll keep myself blind about when I fail. That's fine, except you'll fail all the time then. You just won't know it until you've failed so badly that you're done. And that can easily happen by the time you're 40. So I would recommend that you don't let that happen. So that's willful blindness, right? You could have known, but you chose not to. Okay, so once you get your goal structure set up, you think, okay, if I could have this life, looks like that might be worth living, despite the fact that it's going to be, anxiety provoking and threatening, and there's going to be some suffering and loss involved and all of that. Obviously, the goal is to have a vision for your life such that, all things considered, that justifies your effort. Okay, so then what do you do? Well, then you turn down to the micro routines. It's like, okay, well, this is what I'm aiming for. How does that instantiate itself day to day, week to week, month to month? And that's where something like a schedule can be unbelievably useful. Google Calendar. It's like, make a damn schedule and stick to it. Okay, so what's the rule with a schedule? It's not a bloody prison. That's the first thing that people do wrong. They say, well, I don't like to follow a schedule. It's like, well, what kind of schedule are you setting up? Well, I have to do this, then I have to do this, then I have to do this, and then I just go play video games, because who wants to do all these things that I have to do? It's like, wrong. Set the damn schedule up so that you have the day you want. That's the trick. It's like, okay, I've got tomorrow. If I was going to set it up so it was the best possible day I could have, practically speaking, what would it look like? Well, then you schedule that. And obviously there's a bit of responsibility that's going to go along with that, because if you have any sense, one of the things that you're going to insist upon is that at the end of the day, you're not in worse shape than you were than at the beginning of the day, right? Because that's a stupid day. If you have a bunch of those in a row, you just dig yourself a hole and then you bury yourself in it. It's like, sorry, that's just not a good strategy. It's a bad strategy. So maybe 20% of your day has to be responsibility and obligation, or maybe it's more than that, depending on how far behind you are. But even that, you can ask yourself, okay, well, I've got these responsibilities. I have to schedule the damn things in. What's the right ratio of responsibility to reward? And you can ask yourself that, just like you'd negotiate with someone who is working for you. So I want you to work tomorrow. And you might say, okay, well, what are you going to do for me that makes it likely that I'll work for you? Well, you could ask yourself that, So maybe you do an hour of responsibility and then you play a video game for 15 minutes. I don't know, whatever turns your crank, man. But, you have to negotiate with yourself and not tyrannize yourself. Like you're negotiating with someone that you care for, that you would like to be productive and have a good life. And that's how you make the schedule. It's like, and then you look at the day and you think, well, if I had that day, that'd be good. Great. And you're useless and horrible, so you'll probably only hit it with about 70% accuracy, but that beats the hell out of 0, right? And if you hit it even with 50% accuracy, another rule is, well, aim for 51% the next week, or 50.5% for God's sake, because you're going to hit that position where things start to loop back positively and spiral you upward. So that's one way that you can work on your conscientiousness, is to plan a life you'd like to have. And you do that partly by referring to social norms. That's more or less rescuing your father from the belly of the whale. But the other way you do that is by having a little conversation with yourself about, as if you don't really know who you are, because you know what you're like. You won't do what you're told. You won't do what you tell yourself to do. You must have noticed that. It's like you're a bad employee and a worse boss, and both of those work for you. You don't know what you want to do, and then when you tell yourself what to do, you don't do it anyways. But, my point is that you have to understand that you're not your own servant, so to speak. You're someone that you have to negotiate with. And you're someone that you want to present the opportunity of having a good life to. And that's hard for people, because they don't like themselves very much. They're always like cracking the whip and then procrastinating, and cracking the whip and then procrastinating. And it's like, God, it's so boring and such a pathetic way of spending your time. And you know what that's like, because you probably waste like 6 hours a day. What you do now is going to multiply its effects in the future. And you need to know what your damn time is worth. One of the things you should be asking yourself is, when you spend an hour, was that, well, would have I paid someone $50 to have had that hour? And if the answer is no, it's like, well, maybe you should do something else with your time. And it depends on whether or not you think that your time's worthwhile. But the funny thing about not assuming that is, if you assume your time isn't worthwhile, what happens is you don't just sit around sort of randomly in a state of responsibilityless bliss. What you do is you suffer existentially. And so
that was weird how that cut off there at the end. But that's my guy, Jordan Peterson. Mastering your deadlines. Taking the big, breaking it down to the small. Making each day a deadline, making each task a deadline, but not making it a prison. Negotiating with yourself. Yesterday I ran 4 miles straight, not stopping. It's the first time I've ever done that in my life. I took our puppy with us, Skylar. She went for the run too, which was awesome. But I knew I had that run. It had to get in. That run had to get done yesterday. And so when I woke up early in the morning, I did my normal stuff in the morning, so on and so forth. It was cold. I was like, man, I want to do it this morning. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. You're going to be home between soccer games. You'll have plenty of time. So the deal is, if you get a little extra rest today, or if the deal basically I made with myself is I can get a little extra rest this morning and use that time, right? Use that time in between when my wife and the littles take a nap. That'll be my time to run. But the deadline was Sunday, and it had to get done. And it did. And it felt great. It felt great to accomplish something I've never done before, ever, in my entire life, 45 years of existence. I've never, ever, ever ran 4 miles straight, nonstop. It was crazy. And afterwards, I was just looking at my wife. I was like, golly, man, we are capable of so much more, right? And it's so powerful being on this calendar with flexibility to negotiate with self, but the time margin, the margin of completion is small. You might not do it in the morning, but you're going to do it before you go to bed. You might not do it at night, but you're going to do it first thing in the morning, right? Like 2023 is going to come and go before you can even blink your eyes. So let's break it down. What are the mile markers? What do we need to do daily? Negotiate with ourselves to make sure it's fun and not a prison. Let's stick to the deadlines and let's grow. Does that sound fair? All right, check it out. I love you. I do. If nobody's told you yet today, I want to be the first. I absolutely stinking love you. I know we're not all like crazy high energy today. You're like, dang, man, Glenn's just kind of kicking me in the face this Monday morning. Well, good. That's what those that love you are supposed to do. They're supposed to get you out of your own way. And that's my goal today. That's why I let Jordan Peterson say like 6 cuss words on a show. Normally we don't have idiot here. But I was hoping he jabbing you a little left and right. We're going to go talk about this a little bit more over on Twitter Spaces, so I'd love for you to come join me over there. Hey, listen, friends, here's the bottom line. You and I are children of God, the God of the universe, the God that made everything. And that God made you and I to be the best versions of ourselves that we can possibly be. Not average versions, not a little bit above average versions, not a little bit below average versions, but the absolute best versions of ourselves that we can possibly be. And in order for us to achieve that level, right, where we're constantly growing and becoming the best versions of ourselves that we can possibly be, is by making sure we've got deadlines with small margins, no room for error, so that we can continue to grow every single day. Someday island is not the island successful people live on. Deadlines and discipline, that's the islands that successful people live on. And so you and I are going to hang out there. Is that cool? Cool. All right. I'll see you tomorrow, 5:30 a.m. We'll do it all over again right here on #Rise and Grind. Until then, I'm going to Twitter Spaces. See ya.
Things they're gonna say when they see me, and when they see me, they just dap me up and say good to meet me. I keep it going, flowing over this and make it look easy for me to say I do this every day of the week. I'm eager to be the one they talk about when all said and done with it. I'm the feature that they want, but then they don't when I come with it. I'm a scene, still a seat, filler, blow up the numbers, and I ain't leaving no crumbs, so you know when I'm done with it. I'm a new school vibe with an old soul, oh so grace. to plot my drop, they been huddling. Feeling so tall, I could give a high five to the pilot. Yeah, family tight, I keep small circle like island. Whoa, inbox full of contracts, I signed with a stylist. Yeah, blue faces blowing up like violet.
I know a lot of people praying for my downfall, but the only thing that I'll be down for is being top 5, but like down 4. I'm down to earth like the ground floor, but I've been flying so long.